Hello, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Mental Health Matters. Sorry for coming on a little later this evening, but something that goes a long way, I want to share this, something that goes a long way to helping end the stigma that surrounds mental illness is making sure that we have an understanding of the truth rather than the TV version of mental illness that the entertainment media tries to paint in our minds. Many of the shows we watch or movies that come on the big screen depict individuals who are struggling with mental illness in a less than favorable light. However, the reality of living with mental illness is completely different than how the entertainment industry would lead us to believe it looks like. So I want to address at the close of the first week of this Mental Health Matters 5 common myths about mental illness and the truth behind the lies which we are told. The first one is this: people with mental illnesses are violent or dangerous. The idea that society should fear people suffering from mental conditions because of a propensity for violence couldn't be further from the actual truth. Study after study after study shows that individuals with mental health conditions are far more likely to be victims of violence than to perpetrate it. As a matter of fact, only 5% of violent crimes in the US are committed by people with serious mental illness or mental health conditions. Here's another one: people with mental illness need medication. This is one of those misconceptions about mental health that requires a multifaceted approach in order to sort of answer it. Now, while I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychiatric nurse, I do know that medications can be helpful for treating certain mental health conditions, but that depends on the patient and his or her health history. What I also know is that any pharmaceutical treatments work best when used in conjunction with therapy, support groups, and an individual's effective self-help mechanisms. Here's another one. Mental health problems last forever. I want us all to understand and realize that recovery refers to the process in which people are able to live, work, learn, and participate fully in their communities. And I want you to know it definitely 100% is possible. Now more than ever, there's an abundance of resources and treatment options available for those who live with a mental health condition and want to improve their quality of life. Now, everyone's journey is different, so what works for one person may not work for someone else. However, it's important to be supportive of individuals because the recovery or healing process may not be easy or automatic for some, and for some, the struggle may last a little longer, but that doesn't mean that it isn't possible. All right, here's another one. Mental illness is a sign of weakness. The same way physical illness is oftentimes out of our control and based on environmental and biological factors, so sometimes is mental illness. So while traumatic events and certain situations can make someone more prone to developing a mental health condition, this does not make them weak. It makes them human. Every last one of us deals with the exigencies of life. So we need to be understanding and assure individuals that are struggling with a mental health condition that they're not weak, especially if they want to seek out treatment options. So mental health disorders don't discriminate based off age, race, gender, ethnicity, occupation or lack thereof, religion, social strata, economic class, ethnic background, political party, or life philosophy. Mental illness affects us all. All right. So the people who suffer most from these common misconceptions are those individuals whose behavioral health conditions, who struggle with their behavioral health conditions. So it's vital for everyone to realize that mental health conditions are nothing to be ashamed of. And for those suffering You deserve treatment, and treatment is possible. So one of the things that we definitely can do is educate ourselves about the facts of mental illness and become aware of the resources available. And then another thing we can do to demystify or destigmatize mental illness is to talk about mental illness and those who suffer with compassion and kindness and intelligence. And it can go a long way to end the stigma that is associated with mental illness. I want to put up some resources, and then I want to also let you know that next week we're going to start talking about methods of treatment and suicide. We'll go into some coping skills for how to deal with change. We'll discuss a little bit depression and some pathology of mental health conditions. But I just want to invite you to stick with us this Mental Health Awareness Month, which is May, so that we can do our part to help end the stigma associated with mental illness. Have a wonderful day.